Sonali, when these clients are coming to you, they're seeking this help, they're going forward in this process of growth and healing themselves, do you also see that clients form dependency on a therapist? And if yes, how do you manage it?
Clients can initially form a little bit of dependency, but over a period of time, the professional would train you in a manner where you become your own therapist, where they will teach you certain tools that cultivate self-independence, that cultivate resilience. So it's a process. It's not something a lot of people come to me and you're just like, how many sessions do you need? You know,
that's another question I'll get to.
Yeah, so there can be, but then another thing that you also do is that the professional also sets certain boundaries.
Yeah.
In terms of like you tell them in case if the person is having a lot of anxiety, so we will discuss and brainstorm certain people who you can reach out when you're having, if you're feeling panicky or if you're having an anxiety attack. You don't keep reaching out, because otherwise so then you become dependent. You get dependent for reassurance, you get dependent for validation. So that's not good. That's not how it's supposed to be anyway. So you teach certain skills, you cultivate certain tools where they become their own therapist, and that's the process.
So that is something you have to inculcate while you're doing therapy, and also bring in that as a boundary.
That is something that's taken care in the therapy process. Understood. Where we...
And I got to this question when you mentioned it. People ask a lot of times, कितने session लगेंगे? मतलब एक therapy कितने session में हो जाएगी? 7, 8, 2 में क्यों नहीं हो जाती? Will it be fixed in 1 session, 2 session? Please elaborate about that. That's something people really don't understand.
Yeah, that's a very common question that everybody asks when they're getting into therapy. So basically, therapy is a talking therapy, right?
Yeah.
So the initial stage is where it's the first initial session is about rapport building, where you get to know the person, you discuss what's bringing them in therapy, you discuss what's bothering them. You also have a detailed case history form assessment tool where you take details about the client and where they're coming from, where they've done their schooling, just to understand overall, to take a bird's eye view to understand where they've been coming from. Another thing, the second stage is usually followed by assessment. So it's not just like, oh, I feel in one session you have this. There are certain assessments that we do in terms of anxiety, in terms of on a depression, or just to understand where the person is lying, to get a objective score. This is not just my understanding that, oh, you have this much anxiety. You have a proper score, which also gives us a structured idea how to plan the sessions. And we set some goals. I also specialize in CBT, so it's a cognitive behavior therapy. So it's a very time-bound therapy. It's not something with we don't focus on psychoanalysis where we go too much in the dreams and other stuff.
Can you elaborate CBT a bit for the people so that, because a lot of people don't know about it?
Okay, so cognitive behavior therapy. Cognitive is just a fancy word. It means thoughts.
Okay. And
how your thoughts influence how you feel, what your emotion is, and how you feel further impacts your behavior. So for example, my thought is that I am not worthy, I am unlovable. So this is my core thought.
Okay.
It's a thought that I have been having from my early childhood, and it's something that stays with me. It's a subconscious thought that I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy of love. Probably like any thought. Okay. So now this thought will always make me feel a little low. It'll make me feel sad, it'll make me feel a little hopeless. So when I start feeling this will impact my behavior. My behavior is I may not be I will not experiment in getting involved in relationships. Or when I am also in my friendships, I always have like, okay, I'm not worthy of love. I will not be, my behavior would be not stepping out. My behavior could be not meeting new people. So this is like a cycle.
Precedence for you, like this is how you start perceiving life slowly?
So all these belief systems will somewhere, attribute to your behavior. So that is a very unconscious. So that what we do is that we focus on certain thought patterns. Okay. They're called automatic negative thoughts. Okay. And we try and reframe so that you gradually build newer thoughts, newer belief systems. And I'm talking to in this manner, but it's very interesting where the client has those literally like those flashbulb moments, because they've been holding those belief systems for so long, and then we understand certain patterns. So initial session is just what's bringing you here. We talk about confidentiality. If you're seeking therapy and you're 18 above, so it's a very one-on-one. It's a safe space. It's a non-judgmental space. It's a space where the person can say whatever, anything trivial also bothers them. Then the second part of the sessions are mostly working on what the concerns are. We also set some goals. So they are called SMART goals. They are called, S stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound.
Okay.
So when we set some goals, then we understand mutually how many sessions it would require.
So that gives you an idea about.
So that gives an idea.
Person to person. Right?
Yeah. And towards the end, it's the termination session, where you are revisiting and doing a relapse in terms of if a relapse prevention worksheet, where you focus on what are the tools and what are the things that you've learned. And when the goals are achieved, then the therapy is over. And we only stick to those goals because, the therapy happens once a week, depending. Sometimes if there are certain clients, we do twice a week, but usually it happens once a week. The sessions are for about 45 minutes to 50 minutes. And
एक या दो session में तो बिल्कुल नहीं होता, right?
One, two session में
this is a wrong perception that people are living with.
हाँ, मतलब if you think about it, how is that even? It's not like it's not.
When people perceive it like a doctor visit. You go to a doctor, you get
no,
your
you
medication.
don't. If you are thinking of something to get instant, therapy is not something.
Instant
therapy,
gratification
it doesn't work. Therapy is something that is more to do with lifestyle, to do with understanding certain thought processes, figuring certain adaptive ways to deal with certain situations, and it's quite lifelong. Like certain tools you require, and then it kind of brings more meaning to your life. You know how to handle certain situations better.
You get that you sort of grow into it, and then you learn ways to deal.
Yeah, you at certain level you understand how to deal with certain stressful situations, especially.
Okay.